sit down and get your recorder going.
Got it.
Madam Clerk, is the recording this time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody today?
Afternoon.
I guess it is now. 2 minutes, well, an hour till afternoon.
Yeah.
Recorder's working, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks. Very good. Would you please call roll?
Yes, sir. Miss Barrett?
Here.
Miss Barrow?
Here.
Mr. Chappell?
Here.
Mr. Haney?
Here.
Mayor Kelly?
Here. We only have one simple small item. It's just not a binding conversation that we're having today, but I want to tell you, for the past 3 or 4 weeks, the members of staff have been working on the 24-25 budget. We weren't able to have everything we wanted because obviously there's not enough revenue for that, but we've come to an agreement that we would like to present to the council very soon. We would like to recommend that the ad valorem not increase and not decrease, but it remain the same in order to move forward with our projects and plans for 24-25. This is today, what we vote on today is not binding. This is what goes to the taxation office at Bay County and goes on your trim notice as the possible ad valorem. But we are not going to increase it. We already discovered Mr. Sommerlin, CJ Patterson, and Hutto already know what they're going to get in their budget, and we've already put it in the budget, and the numbers balanced out. We finished balancing it out yesterday, and then after today, we'll be getting it for you guys for a workshop. So what I'm asking the council for today is to vote on using $3 million as the ad valorem assessment to the citizens of Parker for 24-25's budget. We have to have a first and a second, then we have to vote on it.
I'll make the motion.
Public comment.
Accept.
Is there public comment in this?
Whenever you
Yeah,
get a motion in a second,
right.
then you can take public comment.
1 second, ma'am.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion?
Yes, I'll make the motion. to
Thank
accept.
you. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Ma'am, you have the open floor for public comment.
Thank you, Mayor Kelly.
Yes,
Pat
ma'am.
Fosick, 1344 Stratford.
Yes, ma'am.
Glad to hear that at this point it sounds like that we're, based upon what you said, I understand this is interim for the trim notice.
Yep.
But you said we're not going to raise it.
No, ma'am.
So is that, I mean, that's done deal.
Between us, now the council might tell me otherwise, but as it stands right now,
Okay.
we can live inside the parameters of the numbers that the auditor has told us we will obtain with the $3 million of ad valorem.
Okay.
Now, you know, we voted 230,000 of that comes out every year for the SRF. We already voted for that.
Yes.
And that's what our water department is going to use for putting that new water system in the city of Parker,
Right.
which will be new growth. And the rest will go to Public Works for equipment and everything that he uses every day for improving the city.
Okay, and actual public works projects, I would think too, road paving, that kind of thing. not
Some
just
of it will come
equipment.
from there, some of it will come from the infrastructure sales tax, some of it will come from ARPA. But we will, the next time we meet in this room for a council meeting, Mr. Sumlin has got billboards that he's gonna put on the wall so that everybody that can come here will be able to see the projects that are in motion and what the projects will be for the future.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sounds great.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
I just
She's
have one more
waving.
question. Do we know how much property tax was collected this year through the ad valorem process?
I
'Cause
could
it's
tell you a
not been
guess, but Julie's behind you. Do you know off the top of your head?
On the
Yeah, I can get
spot?
it. Right, I can run and get it.
Okay, do that if you
Thank
would,
you.
yeah.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, ma'am.
Property tax was collected?
The
or how
ad
much?
valorem.
Yeah.
Ad valorem.
I think it was 825, but I'm not positive.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
This is not my question. I got a phone call, so is it recording?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I don't know what the phone call was from, but it was from
Okay.
Jeanette Howard, 1123 East Park Street.
Yes, ma'am.
So last year, we proposed a 3.8 millage.
No, 3 mil.
I know, we proposed
Yeah.
a 3.8 millage that dropped down to 3.0.
Right.
And all along, it was, we needed $800,000 to prevent Tony from losing his money.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not true,
Well,
about a portion of it.
Okay, so what I wanna say is we were stealing Tony's money. That's, never mind, okay. So-
Reallocating.
Reallocating, okay, so he should not have, he should have had his full budget, so we needed 800,000. And I recall that Stacy Galbraith, our previous council member, she got with Dan Sowell, the property appraiser, to determine, well, so we started with 3.8. And 3.8 was gonna get us across the finish line. Then she met with Dan Sowell, and Dan Sowell gave her numbers and said, you don't need 3.8, you can drop it down to 3.0, and you'll still get $800,000.
We
So-
could have dropped it down to 2.0, but the job wouldn't have got done, and the 3.8 would have been better for the city of Parker, because many projects did not get funded.
Okay,
Donna, it's not recording.
that was the phone call.
It says it's streaming.
Says it's streaming.
Okay, thank you.
Bear with us a second.
Okay, I wouldn't have gotten a phone call in the meeting unless it was not working, so thank you.
I wasn't involved in the conversation with Ms. Galbraith and Ms. Sewell.
It is, thank you, Donna.
So it's there, it's whoever's calling you is a problem with receiving, because it's being transmitted.
I didn't take the call because I didn't wanna be rude. I hung up on the call, so.
Okay. Well, anyway, go ahead, ask your question so we
Okay,
can move
so-
on.
So I guess my point is, last year we were at least told that Tony needed $800,000.
Right,
So we started with 3.8 millage ad valorem. Then we looked at all the properties in Parker
Correct.
and found out that 3.8 was too high. We could reduce it down to 3.0, and still get the $800,000 that Tony needed.
yes,
So
ma'am.
I'm a little bit concerned that we're voting on it today without going through that process of what do we need? Do we need $800,000? Do we need $900,000? Do we need $500,000?
We need more than 800,000,
Well, how much more?
double.
So why not bump it up to 4.0?
Why not bump it up to 12?
Why not?
Because the people have to pay, and we're not doing that. I am not taxing the people to that degree.
But what if you don't need 3.0?
We do need it desperately.
Okay, so the numbers should show us that.
So I don't think you fully understand what you're saying. The city uses its infrastructure, ad valorem, water tax, sewer tax, everything to run the city. Our objective is to not use money generated by public works to run the entire city.
Got it.
Okay? You take the budget of fire, police, and admin and add that up, and that exceeds the 3% that we currently ask for in ad valorem. Exceeds it.
3 mil.
3 mil. So if you were to go with less, it would take more of Mr. Sumlin's revenue from the water department to run those departments. If you would go with more, which in the future the law may require, then you will have to go to 10 mil, 12 mil to be able to take enough revenue to be able to run fire, police, and public works. I'm sorry, fire, police, and admin. But at this time, we're able to still use some of the money that comes from the infrastructure and from the water department, sewer department, along with the 3 mills of ad valorem to be able to make a comfortable balance amongst all the departments. All the departments did not get what they wanted. Did not.
And I don't get what I want.
No, you're right. No, who does, right?
Right.
So you make compromises, and the compromise is 3 mil.
And
Shouldn't have been 3.8. Should have been 3.8 last year.
yeah, and I took a poll on social media. I know that you all are reading it. I appreciate.
How many
that you're-
people were in your poll?
20 people, which
20,
is
20 people out of 5,500.
which is far more than I ever get. Far
Right.
more. But 90% said they want the ad valorem taxes reduced, and they never speak. They never speak. So
Well, I can't do that, ma'am.
And why are they for? I just think that you probably know it, but why should we care about what they think?
Well, I care what they think.
Well, we care because I've lived here for 15 years, and I've lived with the luxury of never paying an ad valorem tax.
Yeah,
We all lived here for many years, and this is a sudden and drastic change.
yeah.
And my taxes didn't go up 3%. They went up almost 25%. Okay, and what you
Mills,
all
25 mil?
25%.
Oh.
Mill is not the okay. So I can tell you that I paid $2,000 in taxes in 2022, and I paid over $1,000 more in 2023.
Okay.
So that's
So did
not
I.
3%. So it's not 3%. So we need to appreciate why people are at odds with increasing or even maintaining everybody's bills, because we were able, and your answer, Mayor Kelly, and I will respect that answer. If your answer is it's just inflation,
It's more than that, though. It's just the overall cost of everything.
so for 14 years that I lived here, you never needed a penny from me.
For
Never
the
needed
for the last 50 years, we should have already had ad valorem tax.
Okay, and that's what the people of Parker need to hear. As in addition to the
Before
budget.
me, nobody was willing to say we've got to have ad valorem. I'm not a tax person. I don't believe in excess government. I don't believe in excess tax. But I do believe in the city of Parker remaining the city of Parker. And the only way that can happen is with 3 mills of ad valorem tax, so that we can continue to improve the city for future growth. There may, long after I'm gone, be a time when we can take in enough tax money through ad valorem from commercial business, the residents don't have to pay it.
I heard that last year.
It's possible.
I heard that last year. I heard
It's
it from
possible.
Miss Hutto last year that we won't.
It is-
We're gonna get a development just like East Side Flat or East Bay
When,
Flats, and
when
won't,
we get this water line in the ground, people will start to buy the vacant lots. Fire protection will go into play. People's insurance will start coming down. New construction will start. And it won't just be a hamburger house coming on Tyndall Parkway. We're going to see growth across this entire city. People are going to take vacant lots. They're going to build new homes. And eventually, the parkway will be full of commercial buildings and businesses that are going to spend money in Parker. It's so much money that it's crazy. We do the math, me and Mr. Summerlin, we ride around in the mornings and we say to each other, look, they're starting to build that there now. Eventually, we'll draw the revenue from that and the people won't have to pay no more.
I hope that's true.
I hope it happens before it
Before
won't
I
happen.
die. I hope it's
Right.
before I die or move away. So I have no problem paying taxes. I was in the military my whole life, and you didn't get to question your taxes. You paid the taxes.
Right.
Okay. I am for paying taxes.
Me too.
What I am also for is understanding how you're spending my money.
Well, you have a budget. We run off the budget.
So I would like for you to tell me how much you received last year and how much you're gonna need next year.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, Julie.
She can
I'm
tell
sorry.
you.
Okay, so thank you so much.
Okay. Would you tell everybody? I can't just tell one person. How much do we take in an ad valorem?
Yes. So far,
For this time period, for this last year,
Yeah.
we've gotten $773,813
Yes,
and
ma'am.
1 cent. There are a couple of more dates that they will send, but they will be small. They've gotten smaller, as people pay taxes, and I guess it's when they come to the decision. Right now, in the budget that we met with the department heads, with the 3 mil, we are still transferring 662,000 and change to admin, fire, and police from utility.
Does
And
that make
that's
it sense?
Can you say
At,
that again?
at this time, in the budget that we sat down with the 3 mil, we are still having to transfer
630 grand.
662,000, something like that, to run the departments. So
From utility.
right now, so Ms. Galbraith meeting with them, I never heard that, but 3 mil doesn't cover, so that we still don't have to. take
Whoever
it
gave
out
you
of
that
the budget.
information, it
Whoever
was
gave it,
erroneous.
It was incorrect.
Stacy, well,
Right,
no,
but that was incorrect.
so let me just make this point. You all said 3.8 for months and months and
So
months.
we
Yeah.
projected off, we've never received it before. So they looked at the values of
Right.
the things. Now, what we could not decide was who was getting tax exemptions and how much we would actually get. So at 3 mil, with what we projected, we thought it was gonna be $830,000. We did not. No.
773.
Right, not
Still
300,
didn't.
correct. So, this year, with department heads meeting and having to cut things from their budget, we are still 662,000 and change with if the 3 mil did not change. If it did, it would be more, but we are still removing that.
Now, will you meet like Stacy did with Dan Sal?
No.
I know my property went up, and I'm sure his
Okay.
property went up.
Your property wasn't just from Parker's 3 mil. It also, Bay County,
County
as
did.
a whole, reassessed, number one, and increased your home values. And number two, Bay County went
Ma'am?
up on their,
Exactly.
On top of the
No.
tax,
So
they've
it
increased
was
the
not
water and sewer by
Parker.
9%.
Parker
Right,
was a
so
3 mil.
what, Julie, you're absolutely right.
Yes.
But when we talk about 3-point mill, and when you represent your people in Parker,
Right.
they're paying 14 mil. They're paying 14 mil with Bay County, the schools, the mosquitoes.
Yeah, but man, we don't have no control over
No,
them.
and that's what I'm saying. They're feeling the pain, is what I'm saying.
Oh.
Is we went up
Right.
from 0 to 3, and Bay County went from 4.0
To 13.
to 5. No, to 5.
Okay.
So they went up a point.
Okay.
So when you hear people that say they can't bear the burden of keeping the taxes the way they are, just have an understanding why they're saying that. Bay County is taxing them, and who knows, next year, Bay County may go up another millage.
They may. They may.
And what I say is, we don't have an opportunity like we do here. I appreciate and I thank you all for having this meeting. We don't have an opportunity to
No.
speak to Bay County.
We received a letter in the mail, ma'am, last month that said we're going to increase your water and sewer by 3 and 6%. We don't have no control over that. We did not raise our water bill last year.
That's right. I appreciate
And I don't know if the council's gonna raise the water bill to 3% this year. But if you continue to get the county to have to pay them more for their service, and we continue not to raise ours, eventually you're gonna start eating your ad valorem tax just to have water in your pipes. It just is. Because 3 mils sounds like a lot of money if you get to live in a big city. But here it's less than 800,000. And it just doesn't go very far. It doesn't go very far. When I have to buy a vac truck, how much is it, Tone? 530. 1 year's of ad valorem, one truck. That's just what it costs.
Well, but then,
Yes, go ahead.
so, Paul Palmer, 1135 West Street. So, one thing I don't understand, coming from the private sector and how we finance versus the public sector. So, if we're buying a truck that has say a 10-year lifetime or a 15-year
More or less,
lifetime,
yeah.
then are we proportioning that expense over a period of time so that
We make payments to the bank, if that's what you're referring to.
well, yeah, well, it's okay. We don't really get to depreciate things in government finance.
You run them till they blow up.
Right. So when we say we need 530,000 for a
Vac truck.
vac truck, really in a yearly budget, it would boil down to maybe 50,000 or whatever it
A
is.
tenth of whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it is. So I think it's-
57,000 plus interest.
So, and I think what I kind of hear, and what you may recall that I was a very avid supporter of putting on the ad valorem taxes.
Yeah.
Primarily because the auditors had said, should we not take care of our financial problems here, the state is going to merge us with another city. So we were really under a very realistic gun. Okay. So, but I think what would be really useful is to see a really good, here's the layout, here's the budget, here's the income that's coming in, etc. And I think, the more we communicate, the less there is uncertainties about what's happening. That's my only intake.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. There's no further comments. We need to have a vote. So,
Miss Barrett?
Yes.
Miss Barrow?
No.
Mr. Chappell?
Okay, we're voting on keeping it at 3%.
yes, sir.
3 mils.
3 mils.
3
Yes.
mil.
Mr. Haney,
Yes.
Mayor Kelly.
Yes, absolutely, yes. And as we move forward, ladies and gentlemen, and we have a budget and a workshop, I'll be happy to sit down with you and explain it to you line by line. Line by line. And if I don't know the answer, I'll find somebody who can tell me the answer. Because this budget, we've worked on it and beat it and beat it, and we've taken people out of it, and we've taken equipment out of it, and there's gonna come a time when we will have caught up, right? How do we do that? More people that build, the more 3 mills you get,
Right.
right? So you put a pipe in the ground, and you push water in the form of potable water and in the form of fire hydrants all the way on through Parker where it's in bad shape, right? And then people start to build, and when they build, we start making that revenue from their income, and eventually, we wouldn't be having this conversation if this had been done years ago. We'd have had a half a mil to start with. 20 years ago, it would have slowly increased based upon the need, and we wouldn't even have this now. And this young lady sitting in the second row, she wouldn't be saying, well, she lived here 15 years and no one ever did it. Well, they should have done it. Should have paid it. Should have absolutely paid it. Ridiculous.
Well, you know, it's really strange when you look. I remember when we were first having the discussion. We're one of the few cities in the whole state of Florida.
11. There were 11.
Right, and those cities had income coming in from tourist taxes.
Tourist tax,
So
bed
we
tax.
didn't have any tourist tax.
No.
So we
No.
were really an anomaly when it comes to how we were financing.
That's right. We were right.
So anyway,
All right.
I just think maybe if I don't know if we normally publish the budget.
That's
on
too
the
big to
website.
publish. I don't know. Can we fit it on the internet? I'd rather sit down here and explain it to you. That way, if you have a question, I can show it to you. Yes, ma'am.
How about the audit? Is it due soon?
We finished it. They said it was a great audit. I don't know that we have the new book yet.
Not yet.
The new book hasn't come yet. You'll be welcome to come up here and look at it. Absolutely.
I would like to share it with the people of Parker.
It's not finished
It
yet.
It's not finished.
It won't be published and ready to go until October, November, because it has to go into the state and everything, so it's not.
But I've had my exit briefing. The people that replaced the last individual who was in charge have sat in my office and told me best audit we've ever had. Everything's on the top. Everything was fine. I believe everything they tell me. I absolutely have no reason to suspect any problems. They've said everything's great. So I'll be happy to share it with you as soon as I have it.
Mayor, remember, when the city does the report, which is due, I believe, by August the 5th, it has to report not only the proposed millage rate. Did they give you a rollback rate when they sent you the form?
No, I don't know.
You need to find out what your rollback
Okay.
rate is, because that'll be a requirement on that form.
Yeah.
And then you have to tell the property appraiser the time, date, and location of the public hearing for the city council to consider the proposed millage rate and tentative budget. So
Okay.
you need to think about, and I suggest maybe you
We've
all
got to
come-
notify them by August
come-
5th.
come to, that's by August the 5th.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So that's
Right,
gotta
and
be
s-
done. And remember, it cannot be on the same day as the county commission
Right.
or the school board.
Right.
So
And-
it has
and-
to be on a different date.
Right.
Suzanne had set up tentative dates that we should pick a date
Okay.
to meet for.
All right. Another thing I'd like to pass along to everybody, in case you don't understand, when you get your tax notice, that includes a whole gambit of stuff that Parker doesn't provide, because we can't. The jail, the sheriff, the school system, all of the different things that we enjoy every day as citizens of Bay County, we pay for all of that. Everybody that lives in Parker pays for that. And we have no control over what Bay County does to me. None. They send us a letter, and it's not saying, oh, Mayor, would it be okay if we did this? They say, oh, Mayor, this is what it will be. And that's okay. That's fine. But there's going to come a time where we can't keep passing up these 3 mil raises in the water bill because we're having to pay out 9% to the county. What about the depreciation on our end? Julie, what was the amount of percentage we'd have had to have in mills if we had it covered the budget? Was it 8 mil?
It was something close to that.
And see, all of the things that we're paying for now, ladies, 20 years ago we should have been taking care of this. 20 years ago they should have been taking care of the infrastructure. 20 years. We should have had 1 mil to start 20 years ago. You're lucky that we have so many people that still provide free services to Parker. But anyway, Does anybody have anything they'd like to talk about?
Well, Mayor, do you wanna go ahead and set
The date?
date and time?
Let me run grab that.
We've got a list already set up.
I think it's like September 19th was one of the days.
Just has to be approved by the council.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Summerlin.
So you'll have a resolution, Mayor, that will come back to the city council that will indicate that amount of the millage that you all ultimately decide on.
Yep.
And then it'll talk about a rollback rate, a percentage above the rollback rate.
Right.
That'll be one resolution, then the other resolution will be the budget.
Okay. Well, we still need to, and when we have that by, September the?
That'll be in September, whenever you all
Right,
decide
right.
what date that.
Well, we're ready for the council to start reviewing the budget. We're ready for some workshops and we're ready to go. Mr. Palmer, before you leave, I have a question for you. The gentleman that you were helping me with was those old mobile homes.
Yeah,
Are you still in contact with him?
yes.
And could you find out for me what he wants to do with that property?
Okay, so,
I
can
got a
check-
guy that wants to buy it from him.
All right, so he had another contractor come in to remove one of the trailers. He's got all the trailers ready to be torn down.
Okay, great.
So he's starting the process, it just runs into.
Okay.
Now, let me ask this question, does EPC, when they issue a permit, do they come back and check?
Yeah. You talking about demo permit?
Yeah,
Yeah, they come back.
to see if it's been demoed?
Demoed, and also to make sure that they've capped the sewer and all that stuff so sand don't go down in the ground.
Okay. All right, but yeah, he's definitely, I mean, like, so his whole thing that was holding things up before, was related to he didn't wanna kick anybody out.
I understand, but they're gone.
They are all gone now, so.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, so is the person wanna buy the whole thing? The whole
Lock,
street?
stock, and barrel. He'd like to talk to him about it,
Okay,
but I'd like him to get it cleaned up as quick as we can. We're getting ready to start code enforcement in that area pretty heavy. So, not just on your street, but a couple blocks over.
okay, sounds good.
But-
What about that property right across from me, the old, house that was you can't see them because it's all covered by the jungle? The block house, the green block house?
I'll have to go look at it.
Well, you know, right across from me is a road, it was a part of the old Bailey project.
Yeah.
It was on one side.
I
But
didn't know
right
there was,
There's still this old house, it's just filled with rats and possums and everything.
who owns it?
Well, his sister, is now the owner of the property.
Well, I'm sure when we get started on this, the code guy will definitely find it.
Well, the thing is, here's why the code guy would not find it, because you can't see it from the street anymore. It's been
Oh,
totally
I see.
grown over, so it would take walking down the road and taking a peek to see
Yeah.
that it is totally an abandoned. I mean, we're lucky it hasn't been a meth house.
It probably has.
Well,
You
I
probably-
kinda keep my eye out for that.
Do you?
Yeah. Okay,
All right, sir. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, so the dates Suzanne suggested are Tuesday, September 3rd,
I know.
and the final for Monday, the 16th.
Well, September 3rd would be the date that the county commission meets. Don't they meet the first and third Tuesday of every month?
So it wouldn't work for that day.
Well,
So-
no, she had looked that up, but I can't remember what she said.
Or maybe you said that.
Maybe they were meeting later or earlier.
It seems to me that in the past, that the council had to meet on a day other than Tuesday.
That's correct. Like, it cannot be on the 4th, it can't be on the 10th or the 17th because of those things, the council, the school board.
So you all may wanna consider something like maybe a Thursday.
Okay. And
Maybe
whatever
the
we need
5th.
to do.
Well, the 16th, she said, was a definite,
A definite no, or?
yes. She wanted to
That's
set
a
that.
Monday,
Yeah,
Monday the 16th.
but if you can't do it on the 3rd, I mean, we have, noticing deadlines too. I don't know about the 2nd.
Can we call him tomorrow to verify?
Yes, we can.
And then get with Mr. Sloan and find out what the best solution would be?
I
'Cause we
would
need-
say because we did look at it, I can't remember the meetings,
But
but
your meeting, Mayor, in August is not until after the deadline. So
we'd have to have two meetings then. We'd have a regular meeting and then the meeting for this.
to just
Yep.
pick the date, time, and
Yep.
obviously the location is here.
Yep.
But the date and time would be the requirement, yes.
Okay, well, we'll find out, we'll verify that with Susan,
Yes.
and then we'll let the council let you know about the date and time of the meeting. Cause there's only one item gonna be on the agenda, right? That's the
Well,
budget.
let's make sure that we're on the same page. You're gonna have a very short meeting to confirm the date and time of the meeting at which the millage and the budget are gonna be approved.
Yep.
Okay,
We're gonna have
so,
a meeting just to do that? Why can't we just be called and know what date
well,
it's gonna be?
in case the property appraiser wants it in an official action,
Well, can I just call her right now and see if the third was okay for the commission?
Absolutely.
And then that way, I mean, everybody's here right
Do
now.
we need to keep everybody in council to do that? I don't think we do.
Well,
you
if
can
it-
take a recess,
Yeah.
but then they'll have to come back and vote on it later.
Okay,
Be just a second. It'll be just a second.
okay, we'll sit.
Just because everybody's already here.
Can we ask questions?
Sure. What'd you like to know?
Captain Luggage.
Don't ask me nothing about pickleball.
No pickleball.
Thank God.
Do we have a replacement for the city clerk?
It's advertised.
Is it advertised?
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Interested?
No, I'm on social media. I'd like to share it with the people that live in Parker, but I couldn't find it. I found the code enforcement officer, and then Mr. Darling said, nope, he's still here. So I said, oops, I'm gonna take that down, but anyway, okay, that's good news. So we have advertised for, so Jamie's not gonna take the position?
No, ma'am. It's gonna come from the outside, and we have one application so far.
And I recall last year, there were 20 applications.
Yeah.
I watched the news clip from last year, and it said 20 people applied.
They did.
20 people applied last year.
Yeah. And no disrespect, but we're looking for somebody that has more experience than, say, how do I say this without sound rude? We're looking for someone to be our clerk that's not had 1 year's life experience selling chocolate or donuts. I want somebody that's got more experience in that.
And they will go to clerk school,
Or they may already have clerk school.
or they might already go to.
They may already have a master's degree.
Okay, yeah.
So, you know, the
Pay is still 50,000,
48.
48,000.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good pay.
Florida statute
Good pay.
does no longer requires that. It says if you are a,
Insurance is good insurance, right? That's good. It's good.
I was pulling your leg, ma'am.
Okay.
The Florida statute in January is gonna dictate how much you can pay a minimum for a salaried employee. So we won't have that opportunity to pick that anymore.
So
the
48
state of-
is the minimum?
No, it'll be probably close to 58. It's, I don't, it could be 90. I don't know yet what the job's gonna be. It's gonna be based, when you read the ad, it's based on your job experience.
So I go to Indeed, is that where you
Yes.
advertise it? Okay, thank you so much.
Oh, so the third, no one is meeting that day. That's why we picked the third.
Okay?
So the third at what time?
5:01.
Okay,
Is that okay for you, council?
so you need a motion to approve that date
For the meeting.
for the proposed millage rate and tentative budget to be considered.
That's September the 3rd at 5:01, and we have to vote to say that's gonna be good, so. Do I get a motion?
At 5 o'clock?
5:01.
What day of the week is that on?
It's
Tues-
Tuesday, it's
Yeah.
after Labor Day.
But I'm looking at the county commission website, and it says they meet the first and third
I understand.
Tuesdays of every month.
Look at the calendar. It's not on there. They're meeting on the 3rd. We just looked at it.
Well, then why are we meeting on the third if they're meeting?
Because we can't meet on the same day they are. They're meeting on the 4th. I'm sorry.
They're meeting the second and the fourth.
Yeah, they're not meeting on the 3rd.
Wait a minute.
It would be second is Labor Day.
See ya.
So they're gonna meet that month on the second and the fourth and not the third.
Right.
And when is the school board meeting? Do you know?
I don't. But it's not that day because we checked.
Okay.
What month is the second you're talking about?
The second meeting? Oh, it's September.
September.
That's Labor Day.
September 2nd is Labor Day.
No.
Labor
Yeah,
Day.
right. We said the 3rd.
Who's
Yeah.
meeting
September
on the
3rd.
second?
But that is Labor Day, Monday the second,
Yeah,
yeah.
so how would they have a
That-
meeting on
they-
the second on
I
that?
don't know.
I don't know about that. I think you may wanna consider a non-Tuesday.
Fair enough for me. Pick a day, Mr. Sloan, you're the one leading the charge on it.
Well,
Thursday, how's Thursday grab you?
you wanna do Thursday the 12th?
Thursday the 12th, is it inside the deadline?
Yes, sir, it has to be by,
Yes,
It's closed on Monday the second,
Because of the holiday.
meeting to Wednesday.
Right.
Meeting on the third.
Very good, thank you, ma'am. Is that camera transmitting?
Yeah, it's not working.
All right,
okay. All right, well, then if that's the date,
then we're set.
then the 3rd. All right, so you need a motion.
I need a motion and a
the 3rd at
second for the 3rd at 5:01,
okay, the 3rd, September 3rd,
September.
yes, at 5:01.
And
And,
that's-
the second meeting, Suzanne said the 16th.
We gotta vote on the first one first. Need a motion, ladies and gentlemen.
I'll make a motion.
We got a motion that we meet on the 3rd at
Second.
5:01.
Second.
Second, call a roll, please.
Ms. Barrett,
Yes.
Ms. Barrow,
Yes.
Mr. Chappell,
Yes.
Mr. Haney,
Yes.
Mayor Kelly.
Yes, thank you. Next thing, Mr. Sloan.
That's it, Mayor, for right now.
Okay,
What about the other day?
Well, you already have a meeting on the 3rd because, I've done notices that indicated you're having your
regular meeting on the 3rd.
on the 3rd anyway, so you'll be here at 5:30 for that. So you knock out two birds with one stone.
Well, you were saying the 16th.
She was talking about the 16th. Do you need to set that now?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
She said
having
the
that-
final, I'm not sure, Suzanne told me,
No, it has to be between day 65 and day 80, and I
Exactly.
think that's the 3rd through the 18th. So if you do it the 3rd, I don't,
she actually said the 2nd through the 17th, but
then that should be your hearing. I mean, I'm not sure what other date you're talking about. It's a
Well-
resolution, it's not an ordinance, so you don't have to do two different readings. It's a resolution.
okay.
Well, let's go with what we got and you can find out from her.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, sounds good. Mr. Chappell, anything for the floor?
Yes, on the 30th, we have a town hall meeting. Are we having it or?
Yeah,
Okay. 'cause
Fifth Tuesday.
It did say that,
I don't know, I don't have a reason not to have it, so
Oh,
unless,
okay.
you know,
just wanna make sure.
I feel like we should, cause people like to come and speak and
Yeah,
look at each other and fellowship and whatever, I think it'd be fine. Mr. Haney, you got the floor, sir.
I don't have anything.
You good? Ms. Barron?
Got nothing.
Nothing? Yeah. I have nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time.